Excuse me. I'm not speaking too loudly because it's the early hours and I don't want to wake up other people in the house. But I want to talk about the issue of diversity in British film. There has been reports from Independent, BBC, and other sources that suggests. I'm just going to read this out, but it's not too long, so just bear with me a second. Almost 60% of British films fail to feature any black actors after a decade in which repeated calls for diversity have produced no real change, a British Film Institute study has found. The study examined the 1,172 films made in the UK from January 2006 to August 2016 and found 13% featured a black actor in a leading role. A total of 691 films did not feature a single black actor. Noel Clarke, the writer and star of the urban drama Kidulthood and its sequels, is the most prolific black actor in UK films, with 8 leading roles. He is followed by Ashley Walters, Naomi Harris, and Thandie Newton. The survey found that half of all lead roles played by black actors are clustered in 47 films, potentially limiting opportunities for audiences to see diverse representation. The UK films with the most roles for black actors were the Martin Luther King civil rights drama Selma (23) and 12 Years a Slave (21). Films about murder, gangsters and hip hop are most likely to include black cast members. Addressing the Black Star Symposium at the BFI London Film Festival, David Oyelowo, actor and producer who starred in Selma, said, "Don't pat yourself on the back because you made that black drama. Bully for you. That's not diversity, my friend. It's got to be baked in the foundation of where the ideas flow from." He added, "I now live in America. Please stop this talent drain. You have to change the demographics of the people making the decisions." Okay, this is just the latest in this long line that we've been seeing this year of controversy regarding race in film, starting with the Oscars So White controversy at the start of the year. That's not to say this is the first time there has been controversies around race in Hollywood and in, let's say, Western cinema. Um, I really take issue with this, and this is why. The United Kingdom, and this is not a racist statement, it's a factual statement, is about 80% white. Okay? Now, if that's saying that 60%, roughly 60% of British films don't have any black leads, that means roughly 40%, or any black actors, roughly 40% do. So actually, it's overrepresentation of black actors. This is not a racist statement. This is a simple observation of facts. And I just can't understand the controversy. And with all due respect to David Oyelowo, I think he's a great actor. I really do respect him as an actor, but I really don't know what he's talking about. Because, I mean, I take a dim view of actors who, in my opinion, have a pretty comfortable lifestyle complaining about issues like this because the presenting a victimhood notion just isn't there. Okay? I could understand if it was like 1% of British films featuring black actors, but it's not. I mean, this notion that every single film produced has to have black actors or Asian actors, it's absolutely pandering to the worst sort of political correctness. Why? Because, for one thing, let's say you have a drama that is set in, I don't know, the Middle Ages. What are the realistic chances that you're going to have black Britons or Asian Britons at that time? Next to zero. This is just reality. Now, when directors make films, they want to create realism. That's one of the main drives in any film. Yes, they want acting talent, but they want realism as well. If I'm a director and I'm making a film set, say, around um, the Wars of the Roses, am I going to recruit a predominantly white cast? Of course. If I'm making a film set in Notting Hill in the 50s, am I going to have black cast members? Of course. This is about reality. And I'm really, really tired of this notion that there is some sort of racism, which is a very loaded term, in the film industry when there blatantly isn't. This is just a case of pandering to nonsense. And as for this talent drain, well, if black British actors are going to Hollywood, I'm not sure what that says, given that Hollywood itself has been criticised for the lack of black talent. Um, the fact of the matter is, there's plenty of talented black actors out there. In my opinion, they should spend more time focusing on their skills rather than constantly complaining. And I'm saying that not from a point of view of disrespect, because there's many talented black actors out there. I've just watched Under Suspicion with Gene Hackman and Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman's a great actor. And it seems to me that no matter what white people say or do, there'll always be this notion of racism, because it's the same with, and it is the same with Asian actors. If you get actors, this is something I've noticed, and this will be a controversial point of view, but I think it has to be said. If you get actors of black or Asian heritage who are cast in a particular role, then let's say, for example, you get black actors who are cast in films about slavery or civil rights or gangster films. There will be complaints, oh, but they're being typecast. And if you get Asian actors who are cast in roles about, for example, there's this new controversy over the new Bruce Lee film, because as a white guy in the lead role, now I do understand the controversy with that. A film about Bruce Lee, you would expect an Asian American actor in the lead role. So I'm not saying that all of this is without foundation, but I do think there's certain double standards. For example, I've heard British Asian actors complain that they only ever get British Asian roles. But if they want more opportunities, then if white actors get those roles, they're going to accuse them of whitewashing the roles. So when you have films that have roles that are specifically about a storyline that involves British Asians or Black Britons, then of course a producer is going to recruit British Asian actors. If you have, for example, a role about, I don't know, a Chinese immigrant in London, then of course you're going to recruit a British Chinese actor. I mean, it's just not going to be believable if you have a white or black actor playing that role. So I think, frankly, and this is going to be very controversial, but I'm going to say it, I think ethnic minority actors have to stop complaining and just get on with the business of acting. The whole point about being an actor is being flexible, preparing to take different roles. And I think it is inconsistent complaining about lack of opportunity if you're complaining about roles that you get. In the end of the day, they're paid a lot of money for it. Um, I really do passionately believe in providing opportunities, but it is also misleading, quite frankly, to suggest that all white actors can just get any role they want. Frankly, if you are a less than handsome 60-year-old white actor, your roles are going to be limited. I think there's a bigger issue in the acting world, and that's to do with age. Frankly, I think there's more restrictions on age in acting than race. I really do. I'm saying this as someone who loves cinema, and I just think it's unfortunate that actors who have a lot of talent are spending so much of their time complaining, because that detracts from their talent. And these are people, I mean, I really genuinely respect David Oyelowo because I think he's a great actor. I really do. His role as Martin Luther King was superb. I was proud of the fact, incidentally, that they were all British leads in that film. Tom Wilkinson is another example. Well, there you go, Tom Wilkinson. He's in his 60s now. He's only found success as an older man. So this idea that white actors just get it on a plate, I don't accept that. There's many white actors out there who are very great actors, but they aren't exactly household names. So, I appreciate people won't agree with me and they'll say, oh, but you're not black, you're not Asian, you can't know what this is like. Maybe not, but I am not living in privilege, okay? I'm not awash with money, and I just don't accept that white actors will get it on a plate. I'm Northern Irish. If I became an actor, I would probably be cast as an IRA gunman, okay? Because of my accent. And I'd have to just be flexible. Of course, I would want different roles. But to be honest, I really am tired of actors complaining about the dot. The whole point of acting is to put on the role, or you're pretending to be someone else. And when you really look at this on the surface, it's a lot of nonsense. So what if 60% of British films don't have black actors? 80% of Britain isn't black. So actually, it corresponds to the demographics. You could argue there's overrepresentation. So this is just pandering to the worst sort of racial divisions, and I think it's toxic, to be quite honest. So I would politely and respectfully say to black actors, how can you complain about this when actually, by demographics, the majority of Britain is white? So what are you calling for? 50-50? In which case you're calling for overrepresentation. Um, I appreciate that my views here are politically incorrect, but I think it has to be said. Because frankly, there has been far too much pandering to race in the acting world, and I'm tired of it. I believe in the following things. I believe in opportunity for all. I don't believe in whitewashing. So, yes, I agree that white actors shouldn't be getting roles that should be for, that are designated for black or Asian actors. I agree with that. But I also think that too many black and Asian actors spend far too much time complaining instead of just getting on with the business of acting. And that's not a slight, because it's not an insult to their acting abilities. I just think there's far too much time spent on this. And I do challenge people to actually consider the facts that I have laid out here, because the fact of the matter is the majority of this country is white. So if we're talking about representation, then of course the majority of films are not going to feature black actors. Not racism, it's just reflecting society. And actually, that's overrepresentation. And I would challenge critics to say otherwise. Um, I'm not a privileged person. I'm not rich. I'm not living from an ivory tower. So, and like I say, I honestly believe if I was to become an actor, I would be typecast as well. I'm not saying that actors shouldn't that actors should always just accept that. But in the end of the day, if a producer is looking for a particular role in a film, if they're looking for, say, a Chinese actor or a black actor, I think it's a bit ridiculous to turn around and say, oh, don't, you're only hiring me because I'm black or Chinese. No, maybe they're hiring you because you're a good actor. It's just, frankly, I've very little sympathy with privileged people complaining about their lot. I can understand if you've been acting for like 10 years and you always get the same roles. But the idea that white actors aren't in that position, I think is nonsense. So, as a film fan, I'm tired of hearing this nonsense. Let me know your thoughts.